Perfect. Today we have James Perkins. He is from London, but we will know now where he lives now. And we'll talk about how to get started in tech, about his YouTube channel, a lot of other things, NextJS, maybe a little bit of GraphQL. So welcome, James. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me on the show. It's been a good watch as I've watched all these different developers on your channel. I think I've watched them all. So except from Randall's one, I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah. Well, no.
But yeah,
we have a fun. We have a fun here. So of course, please watch your video and comment on your video. So when this will be published, so welcome. Yeah, I'm also a fan of my own series. I watch them all after because also I want to maybe improve myself, watch myself. Sometimes it's a little bit cringy, let's say this. Yeah, that's it. If I want to improve, that's it. So so welcome here. And do you want to talk a little bit about yourself, your story, where do you live now, how do you become a developer?
So obviously I'm from London originally. I now live in America. I now live in North Carolina, and I'm married and have a wife who's American, and I've been here since 2009, so 11 years. When I moved from London, I was working, in a retail store, doing retail work. And then I moved on to sort of customer service on telephones for a tech company, which was really, really fun. Like, it's where I met my wife and some friends. And, one day I fixed something in Java and a manager came up to me kind of thing and said, hey, like, you seem to know a little Java, like, what are you doing? And I happened to be, learning on my own, doing the whole self-taught developer, like many of us. And he was like, oh, well, if a job comes up, maybe you should apply. And maybe we can get you in as a junior. And I was like, yeah, that sounds great. So I applied the first time, junior role came up, and immediately I got rejected. So even after being told,
nice start.
Yeah. Even after being told I should do this, they picked somebody else who had been at the company for a longer time. So I just, kept learning. And, back in 2010, I had some Java skills, but not a lot. So same thing that a lot of people are doing more and more today is went on YouTube, watched some more videos. Although it wasn't quite as popular as it is now, it's much harder to find concepts that you're trying to learn. And then the job came up again. I reapplied. And that time I got my first role, junior, fresh, before I'd even done literally anything. I think I'd written maybe 2 really terrible programs that no longer exist because I didn't even know what GitHub was or Git or anything at the time. So... yeah, and that's basically how I got started in tech, which, was lucky would be my description of how I got started in tech. It was pure luck.
Yeah, I really don't trust in luck so much because I think there must be something behind. Sometimes it depends because sometimes you apply on the right company at the right moment. I keep repeating this on tweets. You can be the best developer in the world, but if you apply to a company which is kind of full of developers, your chances are very, very low. It's not impossible, but it's very, very low. If you apply in a moment where in a company lives, maybe they leave 4 developers, you have very higher chances to get applied. You just don't feel bad for that because it's a problem also of companies. If they are full, if they don't need anybody. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I've been, this is my 11th year as a developer in some nature. And so I've applied for companies that are really small and I'm like, oh, I should get this job, no problem. And then didn't get the job and then applied to, the big companies, Amazon, Facebook, Google, and then have been offered roles. So it's a bit of both, right?
Yeah.
Just pure luck, I think it was how I describe it. I think you describe it better in the sense that right time, right place, right interview, right person.
Yeah, but you must be there. So at least you was there. Yeah. Maybe you
Yeah.
are maybe you are just a bit humble because you know something. I'm sure about that. I know that I know now about that. But yeah, you should always stay humble. You should
Yeah.
So I really like this approach. So are you working still there, or or you applied some? Yeah,
No, so
go on, please, because it's interesting.
yeah. So I worked there for 6 years, I think, and I ended up leaving and going to the biggest provider of gambling machines in Vegas, and also the lottery, right? Like the Italian lottery or the UK lottery. They did all the stuff for that. So I actually worked for them for about 18 months. And looking back now, I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't leave. I should have stayed and found a different role. But I sort of like was promised the world and got nothing. Kind of. I was headhunted. They offered me a position. I accepted it, and then the job was nothing what they described. So I ended up leaving. Like I ended up moving to North Carolina, and then leaving and working for a small credit union, so small bank, for about another year. And now I just moved to the company that I'm with now, which I've been for about 13, 14 months, which is Plaid, and they do data aggregation for banking. So they provide people like Venmo and Robinhood and all those big companies access to people's financials so that they can transfer money or, invest or, balance their checkbook, all that kind of stuff is what I do now.
Okay, so currently you're working there. Are you currently working remotely?
Yep.
Or not?
Yep. I'm 100% remote, and that was how I started the job. So before all this
Okay,
healthcare and all that stuff, I've been remote since I started at the company.
so it doesn't change so much
Nope.
for you. So can you please give us maybe some advices for working remotely? Because I've had many people, including myself. I had another person, Telmo, who has been who has worked remotely since 7 years, something like that. So I think that we really need this kind of advices because it's not that easy. For example, for me, when I started, in the beginning, you feel that you have so much time, but then you need to find the balance into yourself. So I leave you maybe to talk a little bit about that because this can be very useful maybe also next year. So
Yeah.
I'm sure that this could be. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think some of the most important things when you work remote is one, dividing your home life from your work life. So although my green screen's not up, usually there's a green screen behind me, but I have my own office in my house. And my wife also works from home. So we're both in the same house all day together. So I have upstairs essentially, a room upstairs, and my wife has a room downstairs. That's her office, that's my office. And I try and keep that very schedule the exact same. So I start my work at 7 a.m. and I finish at 4 p.m. every day. And I don't change my routine. I know a few other people at the same company who kind of flex their hours. Sometimes they start at 9, sometimes they start at 7. But I think that's a key element, is setting yourself a schedule. Another big thing is make sure you get out of the house. I know it's hard now, right? But I know that you run, and I go to the gym, so that's kind of my thing. So 5 a.m., that's what I do. I go to the gym, I work out, and then I come home, and then I start my day. So it's very important to get routine, I think, is the most important thing. If you don't have one of those, I think it's very, very hard to work remotely. And then obviously making sure that this room is segregated from other parts of my life. So at the end of the day, I just shut the door, and then I don't think about work. I don't think about it. I turn my phone on silent, so Slack doesn't go off, my email's not going off, all that stuff. And making sure that you really set the boundaries with people that you work with. Otherwise, what will happen is that work-life balance will tip the other way, and you'll have a lot of work and not a lot of life. And I think that's the important piece.
Yeah, and also this will be reflected on your personal life.
Yeah,
Of
yeah,
course, we are not machines; we are
yeah,
humans. Yeah, so I really like this approach because, for example, for me, even if I just live alone for now, I have a girlfriend, but by living alone, it has been hard even for me without a family. So
right.
I could just imagine what it is just working from home with kids, with yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
other. So I really like this idea of keeping if you have
the room.
the chance if the chance to do that, and also the scheduling, because also, for example, I was I were one of those people who just has a little bit more flexible hours. I got contacted because as you see, I like to to interact with people, to contact, say okay, you just send me a message, but after a while, it gets a little bit annoying after a while. So yeah, maybe you have way more experience than me. So
Right.
I would have seen watched some of this video before. So you, if you're watching this now, this could be useful. So thank you for that. Yeah. So yeah. So we want to talk about Next.js. Let's talk about that because I keep seeing this kind of stuff. I also did a live streaming today, and that Next.js popped out. So I'll take a look at that in 2021. I don't know when, but yeah. So please.
Yeah, so Next.js, if you're not familiar with it at all, it's a React framework that's built around developer experience. So it gives you all the features in production of things like having a full sort of hybrid static site. So you can essentially just have either a static site that's completely static and nothing changes, or you can add those elements of being able to update states and things like that as you're going along, so that you're sort of getting the best of both worlds. It's really, really fast because it's static, and then you get the extra elements on top where you can sort of hydrate the application with new data, such as someone signs in and you can change the whole flow to a different page and have your name appear and all those kinds of things. And that's sort of how I look at Next.js. And then it also has built-in API routes. So if you need to go and call, say, I don't know, your database, you can do that directly through Next.js, and you don't have to route it down into another server, and then that server makes the call and returns the data. You can do it all through Next.js. So it makes it really fast to scale and fast to make an MVP. And it's what basically anything I build is built in Next.js. My whole YouTube channel is basically Next.js now. If you go there, everything I do is Next.js. I just finished recording a video right before we did this. So
Well. Yeah. So I could take a look at that. So yeah, thank you for this very good introduction. I'll take a look at your videos for sure because I just don't want to just choose a technology and just start making looking videos because I know myself. I had, for example, Tadas Petra introduced me to Flutter, other people. So I know myself. I get interested very easily into something. So this time when I choose that, I'll start with that. I start that in the proper way. I'll start creating building something, just not watching videos. So I'll take this video and I'll come back here. I'll watch this introduction that you made to me again in the future. That's a thanks, of course. Yeah. So, what about? So thank you, James. And what about your YouTube channel? Because as you've seen, I've posted kind of some videos recently, almost 80, no, almost 90, I think now. When I publish this video, I think it will be around 100. Yeah. So, what's about your video experience or public speaking also? So because I'm really interested into that, I'm still looking for the person who made a very perfect video at the first try. I interviewed like 100 people, and I'm still looking for that person.
yeah, so I definitely talk about my experience with YouTube. So I started my YouTube channel in April of this year.
Wow.
And this was sort of a decision I made based around I'd been teaching a lot during my work career, a lot of mentoring, a lot of like trainings, all that kind of thing. And I thought I could use that in my own, in my own world and maybe make videos that I actually want to make versus like, here is a video on something I don't really care about. So I started originally, my very first video was JavaScript developer questions for interviews. So that's how I started. That was my first few videos. I think I did two in a row. One was Java, one was JavaScript, and they were terrible. Just I used a laptop, built-in microphone. I don't think I put my face on a video until sort of much later. And I bought like a cheap microphone at one point, and now I'm using what I'm using now. But yeah, it was terrible. I think right now it's been since April. It has 2,800 views, so it's doing okay.
I don't know if you're happy or not about that.
Yeah, I don't know either. And then sort of I realized that I was sort of pandering to something I thought people wanted to watch, like interview questions. That's something that will kickstart my YouTube channel. And then I realized that it's just I'm gonna do it for like maybe a few videos, and then I'm gonna get bored. Like it's not gonna interest me. It's not something I'm passionate about. It's more about sort of. I was thinking to myself like, well, if I can get started, then I can move into whatever I wanted. So I changed sort of, sort of in June/July, and was like, okay, I want the Jamstack, NextJS, serverless functions, all that stuff to be what I talk about. And I've published crash courses on things from how to use NextJS with FaunaDB, how to create your own NASA image gallery, how to do authentication, all these cool things that, and my YouTube videos are very probably different than a lot of people's, in the sense that my shortest video recently is something like 40 minutes. So I usually do something like an hour and a half videos that go into in real depth about how to use a particular technology with NextJS, or how to use NextJS in general. And yeah, like I still can't edit. Like I've been trying to get better at editing, and I still think my editing skills are terrible. But I think like my actual video content and the scripts that I write and what I'm giving to people, it has gotten much better. And it's clear to see, in the views as they kind of mount up and they get pushed by YouTube. You can really see the difference between day one and what I'm doing now.
Yeah. But I think that we can always improve our videos. There is no problem about that. I made some terrible interviews, some quite bad videos. I try to focus very much when I did some technical videos. I put so much effort into that. To make a 3-minute video, I worked a lot. So if I would come back now, maybe I will start with longer videos, longer technical videos, maybe, and also, and then you can improve. You can maybe, I don't know. Everyone of us has their style, so there is nothing wrong with that. Some people even prefer longer videos, so there's no maybe. So sometimes I talked about maybe you focus so much. For example, I focused to cut every milliseconds of my video. There is not that much different. So because I didn't know what I was doing. Maybe if I cut 2 more seconds, people will watch that. But it's not about that. It's more about what to say, your style, how you interact with people. So there is no problem for me in making longer videos, as you see.
Right.
Also, I'm doing this kind of interviews. Maybe I've thought about maybe you can just take some highlights, but I've seen that people, they like this style. Also, this saves my life to just don't
Yeah.
edit all the video. So if there is some part I cut, but yeah, I really like this. And so, what are you currently working on YouTube? As you said, your last video and maybe the future ones. What's on your plan?
Yeah. So the last video I did was using NextJS and GraphQL together. So that was a crash course, and
Oh, nice.
that was sort of 40 minutes long, and it goes into how to pull data from a GraphQL and then process that data, and basically it's a image gallery that pulls from an API. I've also done things on authentication, which is it is the most popular video. And it surmounted to 2,000 views in a few weeks, which for me is quite a lot considering I have under 1,000 subs. Yeah. And it's still pushing somewhere between 100 to 300 views a day, depending. And then I've done things like, how to measure performance through NextJS, how to use NextJS with Firebase. I just do anything that I'm interested in is essentially what ends up on my channel. So if I'm like, ooh, this looks like an interesting piece of technology, how can I put this in NextJS and how can I use it? And then I end up making a video, which is basically how it works. And my next video, which should be out tomorrow if I get time to edit, will be how to use testing frameworks with NextJS.
Oh, nice. Which testing frameworks?
Cypress.
Oh, Cypress. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. I think that you're doing a very good job. You should have way more subscribers, in my opinion. I work on that. Please go and subscribe to his channel now. And I also I've been connected with you, I think, on Twitter, basically. Yep. So are you using Twitter a lot, or are you using other socials?
Yeah, I use Twitter a lot. In comparison, I don't use Facebook. I have Instagram, but I don't really use it. But Twitter seems to be the main focus of where I use socials, and it has really helped. Over the last sort of say like 8 months or so, I've met people like you. I've met Danny. I've met a few more YouTubers. Obviously now we're in the YouTube Discord, so we have all that kind of stuff. But before that, I didn't really know anyone in the industry. And like James Q Quick, which and I think a lot of people on the internet know now. We've like become friends over the course of the last 8 months. We talk a lot. We bounce ideas off each other. I think Twitter has been something that I kind of saw in the beginning as just somewhere I could just sort of 140 characters, 280 characters of just a random thought, to now using it as sort of a more powerful LinkedIn for me. I used, I connected to all these people in the last 8 months, you and everybody else. And I use it every day now. Most of my tweets are either about videos coming up or snippets or previews of videos. So I'll tweet things like, here's a link to the latest video, and you can click on it and you can play around with the application before it goes live. So you can kind of get an idea of what you're going to see in my videos, and then I tweet the video the next day.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to have both Twitter and YouTube. I try to do that, but it's kind of hard because it requires time. I'm pretty sure that if I had not started to use Twitter, I started using Twitter just this year. I would never have started my YouTube channel. I'm pretty sure pretty sure about that, because it happened so many things together that made me get started, because it's very hard to make me get started in doing something. So maybe kind of similar. I don't know if you had this idea to start this YouTube channel some years ago or not.
Not really. I never really thought about it. I had really this year, I took Twitter seriously. So I signed up in 2018 for Twitter. Didn't really use it. The whole of 2019, I didn't really do anything. Then 2020 kind of came around, and this year I released a paid course on NextJS.
Nice.
And then obviously the YouTube channel, and I've done a couple conferences, a couple talks, all that kind of stuff, and that all basically came from Twitter in some way or another.
Yeah. So, and the same for me. So I started using Twitter a lot, and then I moved in making videos. I really, maybe one downside of Twitter, there is too much chatting all day long. So maybe that's one of the downside. But this can be used to know people better. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm basically doing now. So to create some strong connections, maybe some future collaborations.
Right.
I don't know. So we don't know what we could do in the future, but it's useful, as you said, almost like another LinkedIn. So I've used the LinkedIn a little bit in the past, but I don't know. It's full of bots. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know. Some people, of course, will be very kind, but so that's a little bit annoying. There are some bots on Twitter, of course, too, but it's I like the style of communication, the people that you can meet there. So it can be a good point to start. To share your ideas if you have an account. When you post something about coding, not 100%, but for example, I usually just follow people that do like that. So they post about coding 90% of times. So there are exceptions, of course, but
yeah, that's pretty much how I roll. I think I tweet something like 75% about code or development in general, and then the rest of the time is other tweets about whatever I'm doing.
And I also like to be connected with people that have some YouTube channel. So that's basically like you. So this is what I do basically usually. So we are almost on the end of the year. I don't know when I'll publish this video exactly, but so do you have do you want to, during next year, just to focus on YouTube or maybe on your job? Do you have something else, some goals? I don't know. When I say something, the chances that I'll do that, they drops vertically. So I prefer to say something that I'd like to do, but I don't know.
Yeah, I actually have a few goals for next year. Definitely big focus on YouTube. Big focus on that stuff. My job, I definitely want to focus on that. And I work my hours every week, and then the rest of the time is either YouTube or my family or whatever. But a big thing next year will be YouTube. I think I'm going to go back to live streaming again. I kind of cut that out sort of halfway through this year to solely focus on YouTube, because I was finding that the time I was taking away from YouTube and trying to stream, it just it made it hard to make a decent video every week or every 2 weeks. So I'm going to roll that back in next year and start live streaming again, because I really enjoyed that, and the people that came and followed me on Twitch or whatever, they really enjoyed some of the stuff I did. And then a big goal for next year is do more conferences. I only got to do 2 this year, and they were both run by Danny. So I did his 2 conferences this year. So I'm hoping next year I can do a few more. So
I'm also today I've done one live stream on my channel, because I want to get used to that. So I want to really learn in public, even if I'm not still coding. I'll do that in the future. So if you want to come there, do some collaborations about that, because I really know nothing about that. So I really want to share my experience. One Igor today. So of course I think it's useful to at least just start, at least to understand how the programs works. And then we are developers, so in the end we will end up coding and sharing what we already know. But for example, I know absolutely nothing about that. Streamlabs, StreamYard. I've used some Twitch, some tests. So I don't know. Maybe in the future, let's stay connected, because I will focus on YouTube a lot next year. So
definitely.
So this can be very useful. This conversation, I think, this can be in the future. So that's very good.
You know where to find me anytime. I'm available.
Yeah, on Twitter, of course.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, you answer pretty quickly. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. I'm usually pretty quick with the Twitter. If it's somebody I know and they send me a DM, I'll immediately respond. Obviously, I don't know how your DMs look, but mine are full of just people asking how to be a developer over and over again, which I don't answer.
Yeah,
But
but now I have this secret that I had a lot of people that asked me, and I sent to them the link of my live stream and say,
there you go.
Come there and ask me that question so I can answer
Right.
you there. Yeah, so
Yeah.
at least I try to
I mean,
solve that problem.
it definitely has a fuel. But yeah, if somebody I know like sends me a DM, I usually am pretty quick.
Yeah. Thank you for being here, James. Yeah, this has been really great, really useful, because I really want to be connected with people like me. We are almost also at the same level at YouTube. So we have started, let's say, almost recently. So yeah, I like to be connected with people like you.
Yeah,
really,
me too.
really,
Yeah,
really.
truly. I've had just our conversations outside, like through Twitter and stuff. It's always been a great interaction. I've always had fun, and it's been a pleasure to come on and actually talk face to face ish.
Yeah.
It's
been
nice.
It's a little bit different. Yeah. I can read your Twitter with your voice now.
Right.
It's better.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So best luck. Yeah. So yeah, do you want to say something in the end? Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Whoever's watching this, go and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that I can finally hit 1,000 subs. I'm so close. You
will hit that man. Very soon.
Yeah.
We'll put the links. But yeah, we just need to work every day a little bit.
Every day.
People will notice you. Don't worry. I would be really happy to help you, maybe just a little bit with that. Please do that.
It.
Yeah. So yeah, we will watch this video maybe in 2 years. We will say, you had less than 1,000 subscribers. I had you already on my channel now. Probably, yeah. So yeah, keep working on that. Yeah, don't give up, never.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, bye, James. Bye.
Bye.
See you next
Thanks,
time.
guys. Bye.